Reupholstering a chair for the deer stand. William Hovey Smith, 2019. I'm Hovey Smith, known as the Backyard Sportsman, and I'm an author. And I have a series of hunting books and I also have some business books. What you see before you is a 1950s chair of a dinette set. And this chair sat around my brother-in-law's table. And it raised its children, and they went off to school. And my brother-in-law and sister upgraded their furniture, and this went to deer camp. And it has been there ever since. Well, it has sort of worse for the wear. It's been in the deer stand for the last decade or so, and as a consequence, has serious rot up at the top. Not only that, there was a rat's nest in it, and you really didn't want to see it anyway, so I already took the vinyl off. Now, my late wife was a microbiologist, and she would consider this hazardous waste and throw it on the burn pile. Well, I'm a little more practical than that, so we're actually going to rebuild that chair back. It's simple enough, just a few 2x4s, a 1x, and a couple of strips across the top that are cut in a curved line to fit the back. And then we're going to cover it with some cloth I happen to already have. So we're doing furniture rebuilding of a style you have never seen before in your life, and probably never will again, because very few indeed would even think such a thing worth salvaging. I do because of the heavy steel components. They're still solid, to me they're still useful, and so we're going to repurpose them. This is a profile of a chair back drawn on a spruce plank. We have our Craftsman 12-inch bandsaw there and the vacuum cleaner, so when I start it up there'll be quite a bit of noise. The cutting's not going to take very long. I've got a thin blade in there, and that'll enable me to use it almost like a scroll saw. But the caution is not to put too much tension on that blade, or you can snap it, because this is 1-inch wood. Although no one would ever see how bad these cuts were but me and you, I'm going to go ahead and sand these together and smooth them out. We've got our wooden pieces cut out now, and I'm just going to set them with nails. And obviously you can see the 2x4s have already been used twice, as a matter of fact, for different things, and now salvaged again a third time for their final destination here as a chair back. And I'm just going to nail them in there. If you were doing a piece of fine furniture or something you really wanted to put in the house, you'd use something besides steel nails, but that's what I got. And this is an expedient thing, and it's going in a deer blind, so the quality of the work is not all that significant. But it is interesting to comment that this is actually repairable furniture, something you can't do these days. You get a molded plastic chair and it breaks, well, there's not much you can do with it but throw it away. At least in the 50s, they made things that a guy could fix. Yeah, they did. Things lasted longer too, by the way. In the house we had an old Ringer Maytag washing machine bought in the early 50s. And that thing lasted until we got tired of ringing washing machines and replaced it with a more modern one and the washer-dryer set. 20 years later, I've got a freezer on my back porch that was made in the 1950s and is still freezing food today. Yeah, the old saw about the Maytag repairman being the loneliest man in town was really true, guys. Yeah, that stuff was built to stay around for a while. Not so today. You're lucky if you get a 5-year lifetime out of your appliances. Okay, I don't think that's going anywhere. I'm going to take a sander and take off these sharp corners so it doesn't bother the fabric. And so then we'll be ready to cover. The reason actually that that chair failed is because it was exposed to the rain, even apparently after it was in the built-up stand. So we picked up this piece of old shower curtain by the side of the road. Somebody had thrown it out because it was mildewed. So I washed it, and I was going to use it in the back of the truck in case I got a deer to keep, some blood and stuff out of the bed liner. But it'll do for this purpose too, particularly since it's already got grommets in it. So I'm going to go ahead and use some sheetrock nails and cover our wooden components there with 2 layers of vinyl before we put a final camo covering over the back of the chair. I'm using a nut driver here just so I can set the position of these nails exactly. Okay, so we set them and bend them. That's the routine. What we don't want to happen here is to have the folds being so that water is held against the bottom here. So consequently, I'm going to take this and lap it and nail it right here to this bottom, rather than folding it up here where water would catch in it and accumulate. Here it's more likely just to run and sheet off. I'm going to put another row of nails in here yet when we attach the camo cover. The spruce I'm working with is more forgiving than pine, although it isn't quite as strong. We happen to have a little camo cloth. So we're going to use this and we're going to wrap it around the seat. So this will cover it. It's easily replaceable when it rots, and this will. It's not near as durable as a vinyl. But for purposes of being in a deer stand, yeah, I think it'll do just fine. And just by pure happenstance, the piece of cloth I have is more or less the right width. So glad it worked out that way. So this gives yet another layer of nails in here. Any upholsterer will tell you they do not spare the nails. Okay, this is now getting about as bulky as I want to have it. trim. It rids us of excess cloth. Straight and tight across the nailing surface. And we'll attach here to this 2x4. We now are nearly done. We have our back now wrapped. There's a little cushion there even, which is fine. Now this is left hanging so it'll drip, and folded over here so things won't run down on this vinyl. So that's the means and the method for that. So you get as much sheeting off of this thing as you possibly can over the next 10 years or so. This will last 10 years, and so we will have restored that chair to functional use again. Not pretty. Your wife wouldn't let you have it in the house most likely, but fine. But to sit in comfortably in the deer blind, yeah, it'll do just fine, and the deer will never know the difference. I now have a set of drivers and an adapter that enable me to use this tool to actually set these screws in the chair itself. Now I have the chair braced on another chair and against the workbench here, so I can get a good purchase on those top two. It's not sitting on the bottom seat, so there's several inches of clearance, and that's the way it was originally. This is more comfortable, plus it allows the water to drip and not actually hit the back of the seat, which is the only reason the seat is still there, I suspect. So we're going to go ahead and set these screws and finish our job. I'm going to do these top ones first, since this is the best braced of them, and we'll take the easiest set. That went down in a hurry. I suspect I'm running into a nail. If you don't recognize it, this is a 25-pound bag of shot, which is another awful useful thing to have around the shop. You need to put weight on something. Okay, that one's well in. So there we have it, guys, on a 1950s dining chair or dining room suit to use in the deer blind. Now, a later generation of seats such is this. It's all plastic, which is fine so long as it's not in direct sunlight for too many years. But these hold up remarkably well too. But once it breaks, there's absolutely nothing you can do with it except use a metal base. With this type of older construction, you can actually rebuild if you're inclined. And the question is, why bother? Well, an interesting little task. Maybe if you had all your stuff together, an hour and a half's work at most. And yeah, saves the environment, saves putting another something out there, saves a bit of plastic and so on and so on and so on, and use materials already had. So why not do it? We have completed our deer stand chair repair, disinfected it with alcohol, washed it down, and now I'm about to take it to the deer stand. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.